going to have a debate, as you can see on our screen, that is motion. Young people should disclose their status to their partners. So we are going to have a few panelists where some are supporting the motion and others are against the motion. So we have Robin Ababirye from Uganda. We have Ivan Akato, also from PINA, Uganda. We have Miss Susan Shumba from Zimbabwe. And we also have Sinazo Pato from South Africa. So we are going to first of all hear from the panelists and then hear what they have to say, and then we'll open up the session to the audience. So just to give you a brief background about the debate, right now young people are facing a challenge of having meaningful relationships. So some of them are scared to say their status, some of them are proud to say their status. So we're trying to find a way of bridging the gap. Okay, so let's hear from the panelists. Each one of them has 5 minutes to argue out their points. Thank you. I think we shall start with Robina Babirye from PINA, Uganda.
Okay. Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Robina, and supporting the motion that young people should disclose their status to their partners. And these are my views as to why we should disclose our status. One, I mean, we all want love, not so? We want love. And if we want that kind of love where someone has to do it so unconditionally, you know, care for me, love me the way I am, do this, do that, I think there is a need to really disclose your status. And I believe that if we do not, you know, put that in our minds, there is no way we can achieve the fact that there is love that is so unconditional. I mean, I want to have a very nice boyfriend who will love me for who I am, who will not change my ways, who will not tell me why are you taking medication that I don't know. So why don't I just, you know, tell it to him? And secondly, I mean, tell it to them. Get to know who will really like stay. You know, it's about like who stays and who goes. Who is your true friend? It's not just about a partner, it's about a friend, you know? Someone you can share with. I mean, if I can tell you the craziest things, why can't I tell you the most, you know, scary things, the ones that you call scary? Why can't I tell you about HIV? And I think this is the best way of like educating. I'll give you an example. I'm in a relationship, but when I disclosed to my partner, he didn't know a lot about HIV, but whenever he could like figure out things, he would just come to me and he would be like, Robina, I had this, is it true? I mean, what should I do? If this happens, does this go wrong, or am I doing the right decision? And you're like, no, this is how it is. And you really give them, you know, well-informed, you give them information that is really updated, that is, you know, so that they can also, you know, help, because this is a guy. He will not like talk to his friends about HIV. For what? I mean, they have soccer, they have movies, they have stuff to talk about, they have girls to talk about. So give him something to keep him busy. Let him go and tell his friends that HIV is, you know, it's still there, it's still a threat. Like, guys, just, you know, be careful. But of course, let him not just think about it as something that is so scary. I mean, he gets to find out from somebody else and then he's like, this girl, what did she want to do to me? You know, I've been there. So I believe disclosing is one important thing, because One, there is trust. Two, there is love. I mean, we love, but he might want the sex, he won't love me for who I am. He may just want me because I'm so good in bed. Sorry to say that, if there is a 16-year-old. But, yes, and the other thing is, he will get informed. I mean, this is the, if we are talking about sensitization, educating, engagement of men, you know, we have been doing so many things, and we're like, adolescent girls and young women. And then the men will be like, no, the men are not involved. How are you involving the men? So I'm involving the man right now. I mean, I'm telling you about HIV. This is the fact. So, you know, help me spread the news. And that is how it will go on. Thank you.
And to you all. I'm Susan Shumba from Zimbabwe. I'm supporting the view, I'm against the view that young people should disclose their status to their partners. Firstly, I feel that my status is mine. I've got the right to privacy. I have the right to tell it to whomever I want. It's not like, as young people, we are very adventurous. I can meet a partner or a boyfriend here at the conference. I can meet a boyfriend at school. But at first, I don't have to just bump into disclosing my status. There are a lot of things that the partner have to know about myself. And secondly, HIV doesn't have to define me. I don't have to disclose my status so that the person knows me better. There are a lot of things that have to define me: my education, my career, my goals, what I'm doing, my career, what exactly I would like to be in my future, not only HIV. Because from where I come from, stigma and discrimination, you might lose that relationship if you bump into telling the person your status at first without even getting to know each other better. I have to understand the partner first, and also I have to understand his degree of knowledge. If he's well informed about HIV, then I won't have a problem disclosing my status. I'll just stick to protection and making sure that I'm using condoms all the time, and also I'll just make sure that I'm adhering to my treatment so that I will never infect him. I will not pass I will be an infectious, I will not pass the virus to that partner, and I'll keep him safe. So that thing will be, the HIV status will remain mine. That's what I believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shumba. So, Eva, we are back to you.
Thank you, Shakira. My name is here. I'm proposing the motion. I want to give my points based on a few examples about myself. So one thing I believe is telling the truth sets you free. I, for one, I am a young mother. I have an HIV negative baby, and the father is negative, however much we are not together. But I realized that, however, I might not be able to build a relationship with the family of my son's father, but he was already aware, like from the very start. Because however much you say, I will use condoms, it won't be like that forever. You understand? You get married to your partner, you've not disclosed, and he'll get fed up. Talking on the side of the ladies, but the men too. So he'll get fed up. He'll be like, are we always using condoms? After all, we're a couple. And so I believe like it's actually much better like when you disclose, not immediately, like he's vibing you disclose, but it takes, some time. But I really believe in disclosing, because after some time you are going to have plans of having a future with this person, And the more you put it on hold or on waiting list, that means the love will continue to grow. His feelings will continue to grow. He will want to extend, to pass this love on to marriage, to having a family, and then it will become a bitter. And it does not mean that the other point is adherence. You will not be able to adhere to your medication the way you think, because at first you haven't moved in with this person, but after a certain time, you have to move in with him. You cannot start a family when you're living in Amsterdam and I'm living in West. So you have to come together. That is what I experienced with my twin sister, because at some point we had to come to our father's place, and we could not hide this forever. You know, we were living with him, however much the secret was between me and our mom, but we were not living with our mom anymore. It was our dad to take care of us. And when we would fall sick, not until like we fell sick, then a doctor had to find out and then told him. So it really brings, I mean, there is a lot of chaos that comes with it. And it's really so painful, like when you've laid down your feelings for this person, you're starting to have a future, to imagine a future with him, and at the end, you're disappointed. So I, for one, I believe in. Because somebody who will truly love you, yes, I mean, I would disclose to you, you will have to think about it over and over again. But the point where it comes that he will decide to be with me, I mean, I appreciate the father of my son for that. He did not discriminate me. He did not let any of his family members do that, you know, and he has never actually told them. I was the only one who went to his sister, and I told him, and I told her. But I mean, he wasn't even worried about anything. We are not together, but he has never like told anyone. So there are some partners who are really trustworthy. Not everyone is the same as you would think. Yes, I think that is another point. She has really talked about easily educating, because when I disclosed to him, he was eager to find out about HIV, to have a lot of information. In Uganda, where we live, it's hard for someone to learn about something. When our mom was had cervical cancer, we were eager to find out what is cervical cancer, how do you get, how can someone contract cervical cancer. But before you're in that kind of situation, you're ignorant. I mean, you do not care that much. But now he's like, he's aware, he knows. And my current fiancé knows. You understand? And it's not that everyone is bad in this world, like everyone will reject you. Yes, more people will reject you, but there are some good people out there. Thank you.
And thank you, Eva. So finally, we're going to move to Ms. Sinazo.
All right. My take on this debate is that I'm going to support my colleague here. Let's understand the profile of young women's relationship. You know, they're young, and most of the time they're not involved in long-term relationships. So you can imagine every new relationship you have to disclose your status, be it HIV negative or HIV positive, you know? So that's number one. And also, we're living in countries or in environment where we experience gender-based violence on a daily basis. So actually women are at risk of experiencing gender-based violence by disclosing their status. And also there's a stigma issue, not only by a partner, but also by the community. People around your community could stigmatize you based on your status. So yes, disclosure improves adherence. We agree on that one. However, there are all these other issues that you need to take into consideration. The context where a young woman is actually based or living. So my take is, instead, we need to empower women to understand themselves first, to be comfortable with their status, and when they feel that the environment is good or conducive for them or safe for them to disclose, then they could. However, it shouldn't be like young women should disclose. Otherwise, what about men? When are they disclosing? When are they doing anything? So the burden is always on young women. Women should do this, women should do this. What about men? So let's empower women to be able to be in control of whatever status they find themselves in, be it HIV negative. And if they're HIV negative, really we should be talking about expanding tools where young women can be in control. Those tools could be, for example, self-initiated, private. They can be used in their own terms. If they're HIV positive as well, they should be empowered enough, to take treatment well and know that, if you're taking a treatment, you actually cannot infect the other person. So it depends on the status of your relationship.
I would like to make two points. Well, one is for clarification, another one is, I don't know what it's called, but yeah. So the first one is, just to clarify, we didn't specify the young women, we say young people.
Yeah.
And this goes on, like, it cuts across, whether you're a guy, whether you're a young woman, whether you're a young man. I think it is all our responsibility to disclose. And just maybe to add on to something, she talked about setting you free. Like, it's not really like setting you free of being, in a cage or a prison or what, but there's a way it lightens the burden that you have to keep this, weighing heavy on you, and you're always there. And the time when maybe a condom breaks, the time maybe when you guys were really like heated up at the moment, and you never maybe had a condom. I mean, are you going to just tell your boyfriend that you've loved for a while that, hey, I know we're really in a rush, but, let's just put on a condom. Trust me. I mean, realistically, I'm being real here. I mean, I cannot just, I've taken long, I've been in the Netherlands for 2 months, what? Yeah? And my boyfriend is in Uganda. He's really, we've been talking, and then he misses me that much, and then I meet him finally, and then we are heated up in the moment, and then I'm like, hey, hold on. And I love this as much as you do, but we should definitely put on a condom. Like, I'm not going to start thinking about that. Yeah, I've been taking my medication well, yes. I've been adherent, I've been having a viral load suppression. I mean, and now look at the fact that there's what they call U equals U. Undetectable equals untransmittable. Yeah. I'm going to go with that in my mind. I mean, I'm not going to think about a condom like, hi, I have a viral load suppression, so let's do it. So, it's all about like making your body, it's more like making yourself feel light. Like, setting you free is more like feeling lighter, because this is a person that you share with everything. And if you want to take this relationship to another level, I mean, there are so many girls who, in our country, a girl would want, like, girls who are living with HIV would really want to be in a relationship where they feel like they are normal beings, yeah? I'm speaking this because I'm a girl. And I don't know about the guys, but as a girl, I really want to have, like, someone whom I will love, and we think about not just, like, this young love, wild level. And if I'm still having secrets, I mean, if he went ahead and was like, hey, either maybe I do a little like weed or marijuana, I don't know, I mean, like, if you don't really like it, I'll try my best. I mean, he has really opened up to you, yeah? I mean, why don't you try? It's about taking risks. If it's a business, this is a risk we are taking. I mean, nobody will just wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to do a business and I'll make profits immediately. I mean, these are steps. Every baby, once they start walking, they fall. But then they keep on walking, they get up and walk. So this is something that we have to be like, I know it's hard, there is stigma, but nobody will stop stigmatizing you if you do not stand up for yourself and tell them, yes, this is who I am. But if you're going to do this to every girl that you meet just because they are positive, or if you're going to do it to every guy that you meet just because they are positive, then it's not going to work. Maybe just to and also about the gender-based violence. Well, I know, yes, women are really like face a lot of gender-based violence, especially, I mean, not especially, like women living with HIV. But there are also women who are not HIV positive and they're still going through this gender-based violence due to the cultural norms, due to the social, cultural norms and traditions, beliefs that people think that women are still inferior, regardless of anything. But the fact that you are stereotyped as a woman, you are bound to be the inferior one to the man. So I believe we can't have an excuse for gender-based violence, because even when I'm disabled, I will be physically abused, sexually abused, emotionally abused. Even if I am thin and look like even if a sickle cell person, I will still be, I'll still have somewhere, I'll be I'll face the violence somehow. So I believe that disclosure. So I believe that I'll say just like disclosure, but not in the other way of being in prison, but disclosure will set you free. I mean, I've experienced it, and yeah.
I wanted to add on, it's more of a life example. Have you ever been in a relationship, in a same-sex relationship? You are a church leader and you are living with HIV. Already you are facing discrimination from even your own family. Once you start disclosing your status, you have double discrimination because you are living with HIV. You are in a same-sex relationship. And according to our culture and according to the faith doctrines, they always discriminate against those people, the sexual minorities. Then the moment that you try to disclose your status, you cause more stigma and more discrimination against yourself, and you won't be free at last. Of course, we have of course, the truth can set you free, but there is some truth that can never set you free, because that truth will be used as a tool to discriminate against you, because people will have the other thing to point against you. They'll say, no, on top of being a lesbian against you, they'll say, no, on top of being a lesbian or a gay man, you are also positive. They have the reason or the guts to exploit or to violate your rights. So I feel you just have to do what you feel is safe for yourself, what you feel is good for your life, to save yourself, especially against these cultural norms and the tradition and also the doctrines.
Thank you. So because of time, I'm suggesting we open up this discussion to the audience. So every person is going to have about 2-3 minutes to give us your view. If you support the motion, should young people disclose their statuses to their partners, or should they, your status is your right, you have a right to privacy.
My disclosure to my partner was atypical. At that time, in the late 70s, it was highly, highly stigmatized. There was no exception. And I was informed, in fact, by telephone. And I was lucky that my wife was standing next to me, so she heard through the conversation. It was still the old style telephone, and she saw my face that it was something serious. It was unexpected. And I disclosed that way, almost involuntary. And I've been glad since ever that that was the way. It's so strange that you feel like you get that information by telephone, completely out of the blue. But I was lucky that my partner at the same time. And I must say, now, 30 years later, my wife is still HIV negative. And that is because we were consistently using condoms. This morning there was a session where they were calling, hey guys, we have condoms. They are almost 100% effective. Why don't we use it? I did, and therefore my wife is, and she, because she was aware, she could help me in being consistently using that condom. And then later other therapy, etc. But for me, the argument of disclosing, whether young or old, it doesn't matter, male or female, I think it is important. It helps you also coping with the stress. The stress that you experience, and I experienced it at the time. And disclosure goes beyond your partner. We got children, or we had children at the time before, because then once I was HIV infected, it was finished with children. But we had a big discussion between my wife and myself whether we disclose to our children. I was saying yes, we should. My wife is saying no, because they will be stigmatized at school, they will have problems because they're young, they don't know how to cope with it. But at the end, I save you the details, but by accident they got to know about HIV, and they found out themselves, because I was very sick, that I was HIV positive, and it helped them better to cope with it. So I think disclosing is part of living with HIV, is living positively with HIV, and it helps you. Also, it strengthens the relationship. My sexual relationship is better than ever before, because we are open about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, mine is to say that looking at the children having to disclose, especially of the environment where they find themselves, the peer pressure. I'm from South Africa, and there are incidents where even the young person had to commit suicide because it was not about him or her suffering from the disease, because the parents, children speak even from a younger grade to say that your mom is dying of HIV/AIDS, which affected the child. Some of them, they would drop out of school. To say, how sensitive are we to say that, are they ready emotionally and physically to can stand the stigma, because stigma is still there.
You can go.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your comments. My name is Daniel. I'm from Taiwan. Taiwan is a small island, right? So actually, for Taiwan, we have the LGBT center. So the ladies talk about love. I very agree with you, because it's for gay people in the society, the pressures, more the gay people need more love. How can I get the easy love? Is it make love? You know what I mean? You want easy to get love, so you can make love. So the gay people, the easy to use drugs, because you use drugs, you get the easy to make love. So the chemsex. I know this conference will be the conference will be talk about the chemsex, but I still want to know about this conference. How can I stop the chemsex, these issues? If you can tell us, I will be very happy to hear about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Eli. I just wanted to say that I completely agree with the idea of empowering women to take control of their HIV and their disclosure. But also I think sometimes that saying things like disclosure can set you free isn't always the case. And that disclosure itself can sometimes open a variety of different issues and trigger a lot of people, especially some women. And it can just be a lot and make things worse in the long run. So sometimes I think, not disclosing makes things easier because it's not always the best for the person. Yeah, that's all I say.
Thank you. Any more?
Yeah. Hi. I just feel that you haven't made our job easy. Because you've all made very strong points. Yeah. And I've heard ownership, trust, empowerment, you equal you. However, that doesn't necessarily apply to everybody. And in the context of criminalization, I'm just wondering what your views are with regards to disclosing.
The panelist, he's asking for your view as in regards to criminalization and disclosure.
Criminalization in terms of transmitting HIV without the person knowing, and your position on disclosure.
Okay, I think criminalization, some people would like to link criminalization with disclosure, saying maybe I'm infecting other people, therefore I deserve to be arrested or to be criminalized, as it is the law of many of our countries. But I don't see the relationship there, because if my partner, suppose my boyfriend or my girlfriend is HIV negative and I am positive, if we have never been tested together, How is he going to know that I'm the one who infected him? Scientifically, it's a no. So if he say, after we have unprotected sex, and he claim that I have infected him, no. There is no evidence because we haven't disclosed to each other. Maybe you were already positive. That will be a faulty finding. You are just trying to accuse me of infecting you. But if during the course of the relationship we get tested together and you prove to be HIV negative, I am positive, then there is evidence that maybe I'm the one who have infected you, provided my viral load has not been undetectable. Because if I have reached the viral load suppression, I can argue against that and say, no, I cannot be arrested, I am undetectable, therefore I can't transmit HIV to any other person. So that's those two things, if no relationship, but because of stigma and discrimination, people just say, no, she was on ARV, so she's the one who is passing on the virus to each other. People, they don't really understand the undetectable and untransmittable information.
Thank you, Susan. Any other person?
I'm just inquiring, are we still debating about this or we're making just our views?
No, just your views on criminalization.
All right. It was going to be hard for me. However, I really, the criminalization bit is a bit tricky. I mean, you don't disclose, you're still criminalized. You disclose, you're still criminalized. But I think what would make much more sense is if someone knew about your status. I mean, even if they got to report you, you have something to prove. I mean, we went and tested, both of us. Yeah, we had the test. He tested negative, I tested positive, or she tested negative, I tested positive. It doesn't matter, either way. And then he's making false accusations, you know. And in our country, well, yes, people will always bring up that idea. But we have so many chaotic people as well. They'll always ask, what were you doing in the first place? I mean, what were you really thinking? Like, why are you telling us right now? What have you been doing in the past few months with her? Yeah? The fact that you knew about her status, and then now you're saying she wanted to infect. I mean, like, it doesn't even make sense. But if he did know, and then maybe he gets to find out and maybe starts, you know, saying you wanted to infect them, you don't have people to really support you because nobody knew about your status. I mean, somebody really wants to look at what is the starting point, but you know, I mean, you're like, well, I would have helped, but then I don't have enough evidence to show that you never wanted to really, you know, infect them, you know, intentionally. So it's quite tricky. Much as we want the right to disclose, we have our rights to confidentiality, but there's also that part where it will save you in a way if you had disclosed earlier. And somewhere, somehow, people will really fight for you. And, you know, I believe it's a two-way, but it's a bit tricky, just like you said.
Because of time, 1 minute, and then...
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to appreciate the panelists there. The information that they are giving us is very helpful, and there's power in personal storytelling. So really thank you for that. I don't know if it's my comment on whether young people or not should disclose their status to their partners. This one is a bit tricky. I would stand in between. Why I would say yes, it is okay for a young person to disclose their status to their partner is, how are we going to fight the end to HIV and AIDS? One is by disclosing your status. If you disclose your status, you are able, like they have said, you are able to live a free life. You will be able to take your medication, to adhere to your medication every time. And the other thing is, as you are disclosing your status, you are not just disclosing, you are also helping to end reinfection or new HIV infection in your country or worldwide. You are avoiding new infection by disclosing your status, because you will know how to protect yourself and protect your partner. Why I am saying no, it is not right is, I'll give an example here. I'm in a relationship, I'm HIV positive. Then I disclose my status. this person leaves me with no reason, he just goes. What am I going to think? It's because I'm living with HIV, that's why this person has left. The next person, it's either I'm stopping the medication, or I won't tell that, or I won't disclose my status to that person, which is going to give me a risk of infecting my partner. I am aware to say I'm HIV positive, either I will stop the medication or I'll put my partner at a risk of getting HIV. So this one is always putting me in between, so that was there. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you very much for your comments.